Hey, I'm Ian Spalter. This is Tech Rap Queen.
Energy, vibes, inspiration. I'm Renee Reed, and this is Tech Rap Queen. I am just so honored and grateful to you for taking the time out to join me on Tech Rap Queen. Welcome, Mr. Ian Swelter. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So excited. We're going to talk design. We're going to talk New
Mhm.
York, a
Okay.
little bit of hip hop.
Okay.
So a little bit of everything. Before we get started, I want to ask you, how are you finding joy?
Oh, how am I finding joy right now? I would say, I think probably the most right now through my children. I've been with this kind of new COVID schedule, you're around a lot more. But I think being more kind of conscious of how quickly they're growing. And so I try to tune in when something small but special is happening. And those are usually the moments where I find the most joy, whether they're making something really interesting or asked an interesting question. These things happen in small moments. The rest of the time is chaos. But when it happens, I try to pay attention, and that's probably where I get the most joy.
That's amazing. And you mentioned your children. You
Mm,
introduced your children, your family, to the world on a grand stage of
mm,
Netflix. We'll get into that in a moment. But you are now the head of Instagram in Japan.
mm,
And I would love for you just to walk us through the journey from Instagram in the States and then
mhm.
getting to Japan.
Yeah, so my role right now is basically the head of Instagram in Japan, not just design. And so when I started Instagram almost 6 years ago, it was to lead the design team, and at that point, the design team was quite small. The co-founders, Mike and Kevin, were still around. And over the course of 4 years, built that team up from around 10 people to around 150 people. So an amazing period of time, highly productive, pretty frenetic, but felt really proud of what I was able to help put together and what we were able to accomplish as a team. Um, there was a period of transition of Instagram leadership that was happening, and those are usually good times to kind of reflect and figure out, okay, do you want to sign up for this next phase, or do you want to do something different? And for me, I was interested in potentially doing something different, and this opportunity to lead a team that would be based in Japan came up. And Japan was a place that I had traveled to over the past decade pretty frequently. And so the idea of actually living here was pretty exciting. And my wife and I talked about it, and ultimately we decided that we were down for the adventure to hop over. And so what that meant for me is taking on a different sort of role. The team I have out here is made up of not just designers, but we've got engineers, researchers, writers, um, uh, data science folks, PMs, that sort of thing. So it's a kind of a more broad role in terms of the people that I look after, but a bit more specific in that the challenges and products and things I work on are about going deep on a particular market as opposed to thinking about Instagram across the board.
You introduced us to your family on
Mm-mm.
Abstract or the Art Design on
Mm.
Netflix. Amazing design series. First of all, can we just go through a little bit of the list of people that were on there for
Yeah,
from
they're amazing. I think
so
they're more amazing, far more amazing than me actually. Yeah, it's an incredible group of people.
no, that's saying a lot about you though, because for you to be, in season 2
Mm,
with, Ruth Carter,
mhm,
hello, but season 1 with, Tinker Hatfield,
yeah.
who signed my Jordans, by the way.
Wow.
Um, so, Netflix had like a premiere of it here in the
Mm,
Bay, and I was able to get Tinker to sign my Jordans.
wow. Nice one.
Anyway, sidebar.
Yeah, yeah.
But you are with just a group of amazing designers from all different industries.
Mm.
How did this opportunity come about? What was that like for you?
I'm not even sure how how they decided that I should be a candidate for this next season. I think they probably wanted to get into this field of product design, software, design of software, and digital product design, and so they were probably looking for someone to represent that. But I actually don't really know how the folks who produced it over at Godfrey Dadich I decided to put my name in the hat. But I was excited about it because I was both nervous and excited about it. Honestly, one, I don't usually. I mean, the idea of really going deep on my life, my background was a little unnerving. But I felt that was a story that needed to be told. I felt like not enough people understand that this is something that you can do as a career. Not enough people understand how these products that they use every day get built. And so I felt like you want your parents to understand what you do if you're in the industry, and you want more people to be informed about what it is to do what we do every day. So I felt like it was important things to happen, regardless if it was me or not. And I think doing it with a product like Instagram helps ground it for people and make it real for people. I think for people like you and I might be really interested in the deeper story behind the design of something at an operating system level or things like that. But I think that might be hard for people to appreciate. So I think something that is a bit more commercial, but then um, you know, uh, going deeper on the process behind how do you make such products is really valuable. So I felt fortunate to be in a position to help tell that story. And I thought they did a great job kind of giving people a primer at a basic level what it is that we do. And then yeah, I told my story as well, which was, like I said, it was a little hard to kind of have so much of my background exposed, but I've gotten really good feedback, people feeling inspired by it, and people getting into digital product design around the world, and finding some sort of inspiration from my story. So I think it was really valuable from that perspective.
How cool is it to have your parents featured in
I
there as
mean, it's
well?
cool, but I don't know, man. Like, like I wasn't allowed to be in the room when they were doing the interview, so I didn't know what they were gonna say. And my mom's pretty direct, um, and yeah, talking about my big forehead, everything, right? Like so, uh, not a whole lot of filter, but I love my parents, they love me, so that's what's important, I guess. And and you didn't know you're getting the honest truth.
Through your career, how have
Hmm.
you made sure that you were able to hold space as
Ah. Mm.
a Black
Okay.
person?
One, I started my career. I worked at as an intern for Omar Wasso, who had a company called New York Online that was doing web work for hire, and then he eventually went into a company called Community Connect, which built um, a few different social networks. We called them online communities then, for different ethnicities. So
Mm,
there's probably Asian Avenue, but then eventually came in to do Black Planet. And so I was lucky in a way in my early career where I came out the gate doing work that was to help Black people literally create space online. And then I went on a journey of creating a more diverse portfolio of work,
mm.
working on for different clients, and just kind of getting more design challenges under my belt. So I got this diverse group of projects and experiences under my belt kind of after that.
Mm.
And but it did start to require that I get comfortable in spaces that where there weren't people that looked like me. I was definitely in rooms, even in the agency side, where I was the only one. Not only the only one, but I had, locks that were. I used to wear a crown that was probably as tall as your wrap,
That's
but it
right.
was just my hair. Like there's not many photos of that, but I had my locks were down to my ankles, right? So I think one thing I never really did was um, I never had to really adjust my appearance.
Mm.
Probably some amount of code switching, I don't, maybe, but nothing that made me feel like completely uncomfortable. It was more about me just feeling comfortable in my own skin and trying to
Mm.
keep that. So more of the attention now is about helping others hold space, than necessarily doing it for myself. And then for myself, it's just continuing to try to show up as me, and feel comfortable with that. But I think I have more of a responsibility now to show up for others.
And you are definitely showing up, and I do wanna say one of the most memorable events that I went to was one that you, were hosting, where there were Black leaders in
Mm,
design,
mm,
and it was you, Bentley Davis,
mhm.
Kim Williams,
Yeah.
Steve Johnson. I mean, these
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
powerhouses.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one,
Yeah, yeah.
with, the brothers, Gastro. I forgot who,
Ghetto Gastro.
Get a Ga
Shout out to
um,
Ghetto Gastro.
shout out to them. Come on. Again,
Yeah,
New
yeah.
York,
They came
stand
out.
up.
Yeah,
New York, stand up. Bronx, right? They
yeah,
repping
yeah.
BX?
BX, rep it hard. Yeah,
They did
that
their
was a
thing.
special event. Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, those sorts of things. I mean, I would wish I was a bit more consistent. But what I try to do is, if I have a spark and say, like, what if I just did this and make the calls, figure out this budget, whatever, and then just go after it and do it. It always comes together better than I thought. And sometimes it's half the work is just getting people together.
Yes.
I've done that, in less public sessions as well, of like trying to help designers think through, kind of finance and negotiating, job offers, those sorts of things. And sometimes they're really small, sometimes they're larger, but it always feels like it's worthwhile. And I think one thing I'm really grateful for is that, people, especially people who've been in the industry a while, like Dantley or Steve, who was on that panel, we try to show up for each other, and no matter what. And I feel like I really kind of appreciate that and grateful for that.
So grateful for you and your leadership and your presence and what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
has been incredible.
Thank you. And thank you for doing things like this. These sorts of, interviews, I mean, I think they're really important, but I know that they're as much a labor of love, to get them done, and it's not easy. So thank you for what you're doing here.